I'm Linkskee, and welcome back to Somewhere Paranormal. So far, you've seen us go down to the driveway, which we called Silent Drive, and then we went down to the secret fields. Now, in this episode, you will see what happens at the climax of everything when we go back to my house and go up to the most haunted room that I have. This room is completely cut off from the rest of the house. There are two doors. The power has been completely turned off up there. So that way there's no electrical fires or anything like that, or any other creepy shit that would end up either drawing us back or making us run out of the house. We decided to go back up there to top off the night, so to speak. Steph had complained about her stomach, but as we got away from the secret fields, everything seemed to be a little bit better for her. She started acting a little bit more normal, but the main thing was that she wasn't really talking to us. She was kind of like in her own little bubble, which makes sense. I mean, a lot of people who have gone through stuff like that, especially if it's like your first time experiencing something that heavy, you're going to kind of withdraw a little bit. So kind of seemed to be a little bit on the normal side, but she was still a little hesitant and reserved, especially when she would open up to Chanel, and Chanel's like her best friend. So even when she was being cut off from her, that's when we really were like, all right, well, maybe this is a little deeper than what we thought, but without her giving us much of anything to go on, and she didn't not want to do the upstairs, we just went ahead and did it anyway. We took all the precautions that we thought we needed at the time. Something we actually didn't mention at the beginning is when Steph first arrived, before we even went down to the driveway of the secret fields, when she pulled up, she looked upstairs and she saw a light on. From what she says, she thought that me and Chanel were up there. There's no power up there. She also came right after the sun set, so I don't know what the hell she saw. But that's also not the first time anybody's seen stuff out there, either moving around behind the curtains or what have you. And those curtains remain shut. I've had a ton of people come over and be like, yo, your blinds are open, but thanks for letting me know, because I'm still not going to go up there now because of that. Two of our friends actually came over. They ended up showing up, and they thought that they saw something peek through the blinds at them and then kind of dart back into the darkness. Again, they showed up after it was already dark. But yeah, two of the same things happened to three different people in the matter of a week with that room. And no, it's not all that terrifying or anything like that, but it does definitely make you be like, okay, well, what happened? Like, how could you have seen that? What would lead you to believe that that's up there? But again, there's two doors blocking this entire room. There's no infestation of any type, like animals or a hole in the wall that might cause a breeze or anything like that. So all of that stuff, I just kind of pushed off to the side. And at this point, I'm just kind of like, yeah, specters upstairs, just waiting. People knew about this before we actually went up there, due to the fact that we had gone and done these two investigations before coming back here. We think that something may have attached itself to Steph. And like we've been leading into that the entire time of the past two episodes. We don't know exactly what went after Steph. We have some theories that we're going to throw at you. By the way, if you have any theories of your own, we would love to hear about them. Put them down in the comments or email us or anything like that. So we'd love to hear from you guys. Why did I do that? So we got back from the secret fields, and we ended up taking a little bit of a break just to kind of give everybody a breather, mainly Steph. We all just kind of hung out, got something to drink, kind of settled our minds for a minute while I ran around grabbing things so that way we would be set up for the next shoot. So I grabbed the extra batteries for the night vision camera because if you remember, the batteries were being drained immediately. I have no idea what the hell was going on with that. When we went upstairs, it didn't happen nearly as quick. The battery did ended up drain a little bit. I ended up running around grabbing the extra batteries for the night vision cameras, making sure that the battery and the mic was still good. I had to grab the headphones for one of these experiments I was doing too, just to be safe, because I'm not too much of an idiot. We'll come back to that because I am a big idiot. I grabbed a flashlight to bring up there, as well as one of those push lights. I was looking around. I don't know where I put it. It's just one of those ones you could leave on the floor, so that way you could have like a little night light, so to speak. And I wanted to put that on the stairs, so that way, if in case anything happened and we had to run out, we weren't literally falling down the stairs over one another trying to get out from upstairs. Like I said, I had grabbed a flashlight and everything, and then I forgot it. In my haste, I ended up forgetting the flashlight because I was grabbing everything else, making sure that everybody was accommodated accordingly, and that we kind of had a little game plan going on. I haven't been upstairs since 2019, so it's been about 2.5 years already. That was a very short-lived experience. We tried doing some EVPs, and we didn't get anything. Before 2019, it was 2017. And then before that, 2014. And 2014 is when we ended up turning the power off to the room upstairs. Episodes are coming sometime this week. They will be dropped, so that way you guys kind of have the build up to why we didn't want to go back down to the secret fields. That's coming. Keep your eyes peeled. Hit that bell button so that way you can be notified when all the creepies drop, and so that way they don't sneak up on you. So being up there again, I wanted to try something new. I wanted to get a little bit more validity with our answers and stuff. I decided to get the ghost box, plug in some earbuds to it, put them in my ears, and then wrapping my head with a scarf. So that way I couldn't see anything and I couldn't hear anything. And while everybody else was asking their questions, trying to see what was up there, like, who are you? Can you tell us your name? Can you show yourself? And I would be standing there basically like a mummy. And whenever I heard a type of reply, I would say it to them right when I heard it. That was what we did. That was the main experiment. And I did this the entire time that we were up there. The way that everything is, my back is to the rightmost window where everybody has seen something. So I'm literally right in front of it, about the distance between where I am from this wall. So maybe about just under half a foot. And so my back isn't pushed up against anything, but also there's no room for anything to really go behind me. All the way down to my left, it's kind of like an open area. There's a lot of stuff in there for storage. Right off to my left, maybe about 3 feet, something like that, is the other window. So there's 2 windows, one behind me, one all the way over there. Right in front of me is Chanel. She's got a night vision camera. Right next to her is Stephanie. Across the room, over in that general area, where the hatch is where we would come up, Matt's standing there, and he's got the tape recorder. The only thing that I'm holding is the spirit box. Everybody has something that they're holding on to, and we all have our little areas that we don't really deviate from. As we start kicking off the actual investigation, I'm beginning to put the earbuds in, about to wrap my face. There is a EVP that comes through as I'm about to wrap my face, and it says, "Wait. Stop." And this is coming directly from Steph's camera. That was the first thing that we ended up actually catching when we went up there on any of the cameras, any of the recordings or anything like that. So this is when everybody starts asking their questions. I can't hear anything. It's just a sea of white static for me. The most I can feel is like the floorboard slightly moved when they're adjusting their weight. I'm not getting anything on this ghost box. I'm getting like mumbles of random frequencies and everything. And those of you who know how a spirit and ghost box work, it scans the frequencies of radio waves so that way whatever is out there can pick certain words to respond to you or interact with you. Out of nowhere, one thing came through, and only one, and this was crystal clear. And all it said was, "You." Now, I had no idea what that meant at the time. I had no idea what that was referring to. Well, in the original footage, the response that says "you" is caught at 9 minutes and 39 seconds into the investigation. And at 10 minutes in, almost on the dot, Matt tells it, not asking, tells it to make itself known. Which then at 10:04, we get an EVP simply saying, "Okay." So it was at this point that I actually ended up removing my scarf, little blindfold thing, so that way I can extend my hand out to everybody and just tell them that whenever you guys ask the questions, maybe we could try, whoever's asking the questions at this point, put your hand in my hand. Like, we'll hold hands and you say whatever it is. Again, I'm not going to be able to know anything just by you holding my hand, but maybe there would be a stronger connection. When I took off the mask that I had, nobody said anything about me relaying the one message that said "you." Nobody said anything. They didn't want to influence me, and I didn't want to know at the time either. I wanted to go and have this be completely fresh, blind, and then just see what we get. And then I wrap myself back up, and we go right back into it. As I'm wrapping myself back up like a mummy, I can see that everybody's kind of like on edge. I don't know why. They didn't tell me anything. In all actuality, personally, I had nothing happened to me, which blows my fucking mind. What I didn't know when I had my face wrapped up and I said "you" in response, what I didn't know happened was the fact that Chanel and Steph, who are right in front of me, are hearing something clawing at these boxes behind them. And there's a good maybe like 3-4 feet between them and the wall, so there's a bunch of boxes and everything behind them. And it's almost like things are scratching, moving things around. Maybe it's a mouse, maybe it's something that's small that's stuck in there. And they looked, there was nothing. I had even looked a couple days before then just to make sure that like nothing had gotten up there. I go up there during the day, but not at night. Fuck night. No, not doing that, except for the time. But so they're hearing the boxes shaking behind them. And again, I don't hear anything. Matt said that he heard some things, but he was more focused over by the stairs. He said that he kept hearing like knocks and stuff, but when we went back into the tape recorder or even the cameras, we didn't hear anything. So whatever it was, and it was trying to get his attention, was solely just to him. Just before I gave the response for the EVP saying you, they had asked a question. And what they asked was, does anybody here make you uncomfortable? And the person who asked that was Steph. Not a second later, I respond saying you. Again, going back to the driveway and the secret fields, everything was mainly focused on her. And now back at my place, now that shit's happening. I don't like that. And what's really puzzling is that most of the evidence that we got that night was caught on both night vision cameras and not the tape recorder. I'm wrapped back up at this point. Matt's in his own little world looking around the walls, and the girls continuously hear the scratching at the boxes again. You actually can hear it on camera. It's pretty quiet, but you can hear it. Chanel's kind of panning her camera around, and as she's slowly going to the right, you see Steph kind of like staring off into space. And then there's this orb that seems to fly really quickly right into her eye. And right as it gets up to her eye, you see her kind of blink in reaction to it. This is getting to the point where shit's about to hit the fan. Now, something to keep in mind is that I said that I left the flashlight downstairs. I have only the spirit box in my hand. On Chanel's camera, she pans up over by Matt, focusing on the back wall. So while I'm standing here, she's facing this way, back towards that window, but she doesn't have the window in frame. It's just the wall. And on the top left part of the screen, you see this white ball come down over by Matt, kind of sit there for a minute, and then take off. And I mean, not like an orb. I mean, like it was a straight up light. And if you look closely, there's kind of like a mist looking thing behind, like underneath it. Like there's a ball and then like a cone of light. And it almost looks like it's coming directly from where I am, but there's nothing over here. I'm blindfolded. I don't have anything. You would have heard me move. You would have seen me move. There's nothing. And so I'm thinking, like, how could this be? Even the blinds are shut. No light can come in, let alone a perfect orb right where this is. Or I guess I shouldn't say orb, but ball. There's no way for this to come in at this angle so fucking perfectly. And then it ends up moving away. It was about 1:30 in the morning. And I thought that at one point, maybe it was the light casted from Steph's camera and making that on the ceiling for whatever reason. And at the time that Chanel's facing this way, Steph is facing this way. So there is no light going anywhere. It's cardboard boxes. There's not like there's a mirror or anything there that's bouncing any type of light back over anybody. Yeah, I've never seen something quite like that. Then things got worse. A few seconds later, right after that orb goes by, at 13 minutes and 54 seconds into the original clip, we catch an EVP saying, help. Immediately after, at 13:58, Steph's shirt is yanked upon. Now, when she tells us that her shirt was tugged, she means not like this, but like that. Like, get over here. Yeah. So it had an intent on something, but it was pulling her back towards the darkness. She starts saying, like, I don't like it. I don't like this. Like, she wants to get the fuck out of this room. Complete change from going into the woods and being surrounded in darkness. And now you're in a room that's smaller, and at this point, now you want to get out. And at 14 minutes even, so the original one was at 13:54, then 13:58, and then another 2 seconds later, at 14 minutes, you see an orb fly away from her right after she says that she feels like something tugged on her. So it was at this point that everybody's just like, all right, we need to get out of here. We need to just call it quits. We're done with this. We're completely done. So Chanel took lead in saying, like, all right, let's go. And I love my team, but they almost forgot about me. Looking at you guys. Because I was mummified and I couldn't hear anything, so I had no idea what was going on. And next thing you know, like, I'm feeling a tapping like this on my shoulder, in which originally I told them, if anything happens, just tap me, and I just feel that, so I'm like, like, freaking out, like, where's freedom? Next thing you know, I see Steph in this chaotic state, Chanel completely worried, and then Matt just being like, all right, we need to get out, already having the hatch open and everything, and we end up running out. As we're calling it quits, one of the cameras is turned off, and that was Chanel's camera. She turns her camera off and starts focusing on Steph. Steph had the other camera. It is almost like she forgot she had the camera. It was still recording. It recorded until we got downstairs and we went into the front room where she essentially collapsed. Almost in the fetal position, she just started shaking and shaking and shaking. Her breathing was getting more erratic by the second. It was like a full-blown panic attack. She couldn't get any air in. She could barely stand. And at this point, we called it quits with the camera too. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, why did you keep showing it so that way everybody could see like the evidence of like what happened to somebody? Because we have morale, and we're not going to put that out there without her consideration. Nobody wants to really go back and look at something that happened to them like that. Not to mention, we didn't know what the fuck was going on. We didn't know if this was something paranormal, or if this was like a health issue, or what. We didn't know if we were going to have to call the fucking ambulance. We didn't know. So to just kind of get everything done with, we just turned off the cameras just for the peace of mind. Let's focus on stuff. Let's get her better. I kind of wish that we had some of it, because I know that there's going to be people, when they hear this next part, they're not going to believe us. That's fine. Because I'm not sure I would believe myself either if I just randomly heard this on the internet. This is, I swear to you, 100% legit. We're not lying when it comes to any of this shit. Steph almost got fucking possessed. The way that she was acting afterwards was unbelievably terrifying and unsettling, that I have never experienced this. All of this was new for everybody. We ended up bringing Steph back into one of the rooms. In here, we put her down on a soft beanbag chair that we had, and she was sitting there, but her breathing was getting faster and faster and uncontrollable. And we didn't know what to do. We were trying to get through to her, but it was like she wasn't even able to hear us at this point. Her eyes were wide with fear. Like, she didn't know where she was. It was like almost like she couldn't see anything. She gets so scared that she reaches up with both of her hands and starts squeezing her hair. Like, they're both in knots, and as if she was like holding them in pigtails and just squeezing, not pulling, but just squeezing her hands. And it was so strong that we had to literally pry her hands open to get her from stopping to do that, because eventually she would have ripped her hair out. You could thank Chanel for being able to get her hands loose. Chanel is trying with all her might to kind of bring Steph back to her senses, so to speak. Kind of remind her who she is. Like, okay, you're downstairs, you're safe, you're with friends, you don't need to worry about that anymore. We're in a safe area where we're completely fine. We need to get your breathing under control. Can you hear us? Can you let us know anything? She wasn't able to get a word out. She wasn't even really able to make eye contact either. Her eyes were just kind of like darting around the room, but like how I said, like, she couldn't see anything, but she was like trying to follow something. It was so weird. Chanel literally gets almost nose to nose with her, trying to tell her, like, calm down, just try to breathe with me. Steph would go from this weird, like, chaotic state of just everything is falling down around her to literally just staring at her and then smiling. And then going right back into that whole fearful, but then smiling a little bit at her. And the way that it was put was like, it looked like Steph wasn't there. Like, her eyes had changed somehow. I know that goes along with a lot of like possession stories. It's really bizarre when you're experiencing it firsthand rather than watching it through a screen. And in times like that, you don't know what to do. You don't know, like, do I call a priest? Do I call an ambulance? Do I get my gun? Chanel and I agreed that when Steph started looking at her and giving these kind of looks, I was sitting just like a foot or two from them. I'm not gonna lie, I was getting ready to kind of like, all right. We both thought that whatever was controlling Steph was going to wrap its hands around Chanel's throat and choke her. We both got that feeling, but then she kind of like subsided in a way. Like, she kind of sat back and like threw her head down, like, okay, I can't look. But then Chanel tells her, like, look up at me, you gotta focus. And she raises her head back up, she looks at her, but then looks just past her over her shoulder and gives the fucking scariest look I've ever seen on someone's face. She looked like she just saw the most hideous fucking thing from some eldritch terror that just is standing over her, just looking at her, and she screams and just throws herself back. The closest way I can get to describing how she actually looked was that of The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Steph throws herself into the beanbag, but sideways. So her face is angled at an angle towards the little armrest thing that's on there. And so she's kind of aimed in my direction. So I lean forward and I just keep trying to talk to her like, okay, so you need to breathe. You need to breathe. Follow my breathing pattern. And I was just kind of showing my arms like this. And getting her to mimic what I was doing. I sat there for about 15 minutes with no reaction at all, but I could see that she could see me out of her peripheral of her eye. And over the course of about 10 minutes, she started getting her breathing under control. So I slowly backed off, but then that's when it came back. So I jumped back into it and continued for about another 5 minutes. Her breathing started actually becoming under control. I had an idea that I have protective stones and other amulets, talismans, stuff like that, that could be used in this situation. So I had jumped up and I grabbed a stone. I grabbed sodalite, gave it to her, and it's supposed to help ground her, essentially, and kind of bring her back more self-awareness to this current situation, and that she is still who she is. She's in full control. She was also given a red jasper necklace to wear that would help with courage and security. So that way she could hopefully overpower whatever thoughts that were in her mind, whether it be her own or something else that was making her think certain things. Offhand, I don't know if she was wearing any protective necklaces, amulets, rings. I'm not entirely sure, or if they were the correct ones to be wearing for that type of situation to be in. So with giving her the stone and the necklace, we wanted to take it a step further. And unfortunately, I didn't have any Palo Santo wood or anything, but I did have a little bit of sage left. So I ended up lighting it and smudging the room, and I smudged the entire bottom floor. However, right when I lit the sage, my back began to burn. Like somebody was holding a flame to my back. Not quite as excruciating as that would be, but there was definitely a difference. Like I was literally like arching my back, like, ow, like what the fuck? I was sitting on the floor and upstairs. I didn't rub my back against anything. Not on the way out, not when we were helping Steph into the room, nothing. And I immediately sat down on the floor. So I have no idea why my back started hurting, but I'm just like, all right. So I finished smudging, and then I'm kind of hanging out in one of the other rooms. And to not draw attention to it, I started acting like I was joking around. It's like, oh, Matt, come here really quick. You should come check this out, because I had just gone to the bathroom and looked at my back, and all I saw was just a little bit of red, and I'm like, not red as in blood, but like as in irritated skin. And so I called him out there. I'm like, dude, just quickly, is there anything on my back? And I lifted my shirt up, and he tells me that I have a scratch across my back going sideways across my spine. And he just points at it like, there? And I'm like, yeah, because it was sore. So I kept that hidden from everybody, at least from the girls, until the end of the night when I eventually told Chanel. I never told Steph, but I think I mentioned something eventually in person to her, which to this day, again, she still doesn't remember anything. She doesn't remember anything. And it is October 11th? 12th? It's October 12th. Me and my days. Finally, at this point, after I had come back in with Matt, Chanel's sitting down, and she has Steph kind of like laying down in her lap, kind of at an angle, kind of facing towards the ceiling, kind of not. And she's just kind of playing with her hair and telling her like, oh, your eyes are this color, blah, 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 trying to get her to focus on her own features and kind of bring her back. And that seemed to be like the tipping point after we had given her the grounding stone and having courage with the necklace and then smudging everything. She was finally able to come back. And the weird part is that we saw when she did. She was laying down and she had that like just kind of like dazed look, and then all of a sudden just starts looking around all confused and just kind of like, what the hell? And we start talking to her, but she's not giving us anything still. But like, you could tell she's kind of back, like she's more aware, like she's not screaming, she's not focused on one specific thing, but she keeps looking around like either she's trying to follow something or trying to figure out where the hell she is. It would take another 10 minutes of her just kind of being in her head and trying to gather the words to really talk to us. For another 10 minutes, she just remained quiet. But when she started talking, she doesn't remember anything from leaving upstairs. The last thing that she remembers is that she felt something pull on her, and then the overwhelming feeling of fear, and just starting for the stairs, and that's it. She doesn't remember coming down. She doesn't remember us trying to help her almost fully collapsing in the front room and dropping onto her ass, us picking her up, bringing her back in here, pulling her hair, the thing that she saw, the way that she was asked. She doesn't remember anything. And we've asked in multiple different ways, multiple different times, and she still doesn't remember a single thing of anything that happened. And the time lapse between all of that was about 45 minutes. She doesn't remember 45 minutes of a single day. She started complaining about how her head was sore on each side. And we told her that you grabbed your hair so hard, dude, that we didn't know if we were going to be able to get your hand off of your hair. You were like sealed to it. And that was your way of pulling yourself out of the metaphorical water. But we got you to stop doing that. So when the night officially ends, it's around 3 o'clock in the morning. And then she takes off and she has to drive a considerable amount to get back home. And not too much longer later, Steph ends up Snapchatting us and tells us that while she's on the highway, she looked off to the right and there was a fucking bouncing ball. Like a big ball. Not a little ball. A ball. Like one of those ones that you punt at a little kid. Don't do that. She sees that and it's a blue ball. Her favorite color is blue. And it's bouncing with her car. Now, she's on the highway, so minimum 45, but she's probably going a little bit faster than that. She's in the middle of nowhere. There's no other cars. There's nothing. And so she decides, because there's no cars, like, what the hell? Why is it bouncing with my car? She said that she stopped in the middle of the highway, and the ball stopped too, but continued to bounce. And that's when she just gassed it and took off. I really wish that we had the evidence. I really, really wish that we had this evidence. But we don't. And I'm sorry, but you guys deserve to know the ending of everything that happened the way that we experienced it. And unfortunately, we don't have it, nor can we prove about the bouncing ball or anything. But this is what happened. I swear by it. Things are still continuing. Things are still continuing with Steph. She started seeing things moving around in her room. Her rabbits near her closet were acting different. She saw an apparition next to her closet of somebody just standing there, no real physical features or anything, like a giant orb flying out of her TV. Whenever she would keep the TV off, things would kind of like start acting up a little bit more. So she would turn the TV on and it would almost kind of like dispel whatever it was. I don't know if there was something that goes along with that or what. Later on that night, we also found out that where she was pulled on her shirt, she also had claw marks on her. Like she was scratched in threes. These were real thin. Every investigation is a gamble. You don't know if you're actually going to catch anything. You don't know if it's going to be a bust. And you also don't know if it's going to be over the top to where you don't know, like, oh, check it out. Check out sand. Oh, it's quicksand. You're dead. You're dead. I'll give you guys the brief theory that me and my friends have come up with. Essentially, there is somebody there, most likely a teenager or even like younger 20s, and something happened to him out there, and that's why we were getting the help. And that's not the only time that I've gotten help down there on the camera. Also, going along with the help and then seeing these apparitions appear out of fucking nowhere, seeing a white face in the forest, and then in these 3 episodes down at the secret fields, you see something white dash in front of the camera twice going in Steph's direction, both at times when her stomach just started hurting. And that's where I think I'll leave the theory for now. Because again, it's just theories and just kind of figuring out what these things are and what it is. Does it really want help, or was it disguising itself to allow somebody to take it back with them? Like, oh, I'm nice. And then next thing you know, like, what if the help that it needs is that it wants a body, or it needs a soul, or something like that? Again, it's far reaching, but all of the paranormal is. If you've made it this far, I love you. In the next episode, we'll be going out towards Chicago to go and investigate Lynn and Jeff's house to see what spooky things are haunting their place, if at all any. What do you think is going to happen? What do you suppose could be happening? Let us know. What have you gone through? Also, if there's anything creepy in the Midwest that you would like people to go and investigate, but yet there's nobody out to go and do it, email us and we might just be able to go out and do that. And we'll dedicate the episode to you. So I think that's going to do it. And until next time, subscribe, stay safe, and don't answer that phone call.
it's not them.
Okay, we're upstairs. Oh, thing came up. Pass the cat down. I'm not in there this week. Oh, wait, yeah, I'm an idiot. Why did I have that on? Can you close the hatch?
There's a hatch?
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
This used to be the jam area. That store where I told you? Right where Matt's standing, right there, is where the banister used to be. That long, like 2x4 looking thing. And it would come all the way up to his, like the middle of his chest. And right over here, along this wall, below that window, is where my bed was, where that thing happened. And when I was sitting in it here and the power went out, it was right over there. Literally like 2 feet from that thing. Alright, so, everybody good?
Make it work.
Make it work. What'd you do?
Nothing.
That's straight up. Okay, so we gotta push that button in. That big, so that way, oh, you also have the cap on.
Ah! I'm going. There you are. This big circle?
That big circle one is to bring on the, yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, so now you can see, but you
Did you see that?
yeah, I saw that. You feel that? Right there? That that curvy feeling one? There you go. Now you're recording. Because you got the red dot.
Oh, that was great. There was an orb and the camera didn't record.
What?
Did you hear anyone through the hatch?
No?
The door's closed.
Do you have the tape recorder still?
No.
Oh wait, I brought it. I'm smart. Is that actually recording? Yeah, okay. We're upstairs at my place. And I'm going to get the tape recorder to Matt.
Anything in here,
Oh shit.
feel free to
Let me look at your battery.
I have full.
Look at mine.
Already?
Already. These things like to drain the power out of
I
this.
just saw another holy fucking orbs, yo.
Alright, so, actually Matt here. Steph, you want to use the camera? Alright, whoever wants to focus in on this really quick. I have the spirit box that I'm going to use, but what I'm doing is I'm going to do the whole blindfold thing. So I'm basically going to be completely deaf to you guys. And I'm going to use this, blindfold myself, even though we're in a completely dark room. And you guys are going to be the ones to ask questions. And if there's any type of response, I'm going to say it. Not knowing what, that was me. That was the cord I was jiggling on. But yeah, so that's essentially what we're going to do right now. And Matt's got the tape recorder. So, yeah.
There's an orb right behind you.
That's tape. I think I could fucking eat it out the window.
Can,
Oh, there's one too.
did you hit the wall?
That was my foot.
Yeah, they're all around you, babe.
Yeah.
Huh?
turn this thing on. It's probably gonna be really loud for you guys. Actually, I don't even need to really do that. You guys can hear it through this.
Mm-hmm. Good, then you can ask the questions.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. I'll do a cheap blindfold thing, I guess. But you guys need to be the ones to ask some questions, okay? Okay.
3.
Thank you. Right. Alright, I'm about to put the other headphone in so I won't be able to hear you guys. If you need me, tap me.
How many of you are there?
Alright, go ahead and ask your questions. I can't hear a shit, dude.
Say again. How many of you are there?
Are you seeing that stuff?
See what?
The Orbeez? I think they are.
Are
What's
you
that
over my
noise?
cat?
I don't know, I hear that.
Sounds like it's over here.
Are you making a noise?
And of course you ask and it stops.
It's like right here.
There was some type of answer, but I couldn't make it out.
Are you making a noise by Steph and I? In the boxes?
Like a tapping?
Free?
Free. Are you trying to get free?
No.
No. You're not okay. You like it here? Is something you want to pack
It's down here.
that brings you here? That keeps you here?
I'm trying to see your hand.
That was my foot.
I think it's a mouse.
Yeah?
Does that not sound like chewing? Are you chewing? Like, you hear chewing?
You're a mouse lady.
How long have you been here? Do you even know? Are you the one that attacked Pat? Go ahead and make yourself known. If you're in here, make a noise.
There's an orb by you.
Where by me? Over here?
Like right behind you.
Oh, right behind me.
It went past, yeah.
Do you like me? Are you? Like, do you remember me? I've been up here before.
It's funny, it's not saying stuff. When me and Pat last did one of these, it was talking like crazy.
Are you nervous?
Yo, Steph, that noise stopped.
I know. Do we make you uncomfortable?
You?
Who, Stephanie?
Me?
Does she make you uncomfortable? Go on. Don't be shy. Make yourself known. If you talk into the box, use the box that Pat is holding, and tell us about yourself.
Anybody else hear that?
That's my stomach. That's my stomach.
Alright, I got an idea. I don't know if any of that was helpful to anything, but
Holy fuck.
I'm thinking that the way we'll do this now, whoever asks a question, I'm gonna hold my hand out. Hold my hand while you ask the question. Maybe there can be like a direct connection.
Yo, I noticed something.
What?
There is a direct connection. Because as you weren't talking, we saw maybe like one orb by Matt. I didn't notice any of them. You took that off and started talking. I had 1, 2, 3.
Well, I mean, were you guys talking a decent amount? Well,
Yes.
We're trying.
The whole time.
Radiating spirit. Did you hear that?
What? What did you hear? Pour on me?
Yeah. It sounded like something flipped the old furnace.
That's where they're all coming from, that corner.
No, the old furnace is over there.
Oh, over there.
Are you over here? Speaking to the tape recorder. Talk whatever you want. Do you not like me being up here?
You just had an orb fly right by your hand. And did that.
Go ahead. You can keep talking into that thing. I want to hear what you have to say. Are you the one that messed with Pat when he was a kid?
I'm gonna put these back on. So that way we can test that out. You guys look cool with that?
You didn't see anything, did you?
What? I wasn't looking over
Steph? No.
No, I didn't.
There was some heavy-ass noises coming from these boxes.
That's the area in which I told Skylar not to look when the power was cut. Alright, I'm gonna hold out my hand so whenever anybody asks, just...
What is your name? Or what do you call yourself?
That was me. Sorry, guys. It just felt like somebody pulled on my shirt.
Did you just pull on Steph's shirt? Are you behind us right now? Are you
No
over here
fucking
behind me?
joke. It felt like somebody just fucking pulled on the back of my shirt.
Are you harassing Steph now?
I don't
Yeah,
like this
like
feeling.
something here?
I don't like this feeling.
Hey,
I don't like this.
Hey.
I don't like this. I don't like this.
Okay, we're going.
yeah, I can feel it too.
Hey, how do
Yeah,
you...
hold it, no, keep it on so that we can see.
Go. Because you know it's funny, before you started saying that, there was an orb right there.
Hey. Somebody, leave her alone. Hold on, leave her alone. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. Let her get some air.
The back of your shirt?
Here you go.
Don, relax.
Was it there?